I was about 53, I think, 55. I couldn't walk from one room to the other without stopping for a breath. So I went straight to hospital, and that night my heart stopped and they put a temporary pacemaker in.
Oyster farmer Lynn Farley hoped getting a pacemaker for an irregular heartbeat would save her life.
The pacemaker's to keep your heart pacing at a certain rate, and then the defibrillator kicks in if it gets too low.
Instead, the device nearly killed her, with the defibrillator going off dozens of times.
It's more or less like an electric shock, and it bounces you around, and I was thinking I would rather die than put up with this.
Her family called an ambulance and she was raced to hospital.
They counted it up on the machines, and it was between 56 and 60 shocks that I had all up. Some of the doctors would laugh because it had gone off so many times, and they said, "You just feel lucky that you're still here." Really, I thought I was not going to make it.
One of the leads that connected Lynn Farley's pacemaker to her heart had eroded, leaving the internal wire exposed. The pacemaker malfunctioned, acting as though her heart had stopped when it hadn't.
It's often at the joint where the lead kind of has some flexion, and when that...
Her cardiologist, Dr. Bradley Willsmore, was astounded.
Just the fact her heart was able to keep going is surprising.
So it thinks there's stuff on the device, but there's
He reported Lynn's case to Biotronic, a German medical device company. It manufactured the Linux brand of lead.
The formal report back was there's no lead issues, there's never been any lead issues, and we take no responsibility for any lead issues because we think the lead is fine. I found that very unsatisfactory.
But Lynn wasn't the first in Australia to experience unnecessary shocks. One man went through something similar 3 years earlier.
In 2011 was when I got the main second heart attack. I got into the hospital. They just suggested that my heart, after an angiogram, looked all right, but the electrics in the heart needed attention. They decided they were going to put the defibrillator in. They had a program where there was exercises twice a week, and then there's one particular one where a couple of steps, and step up, step back, step up, step back. And all of a sudden, bang! Whew. That got me wide awake. While I was sat, it went bang 4 more times. So I had 5 shocks, and when I mean shocks, I mean shocks. It's just a matter of, is this the end? All of a sudden I'm back at emergency, took me back up, pulled that lead out and put another one in. Doesn't leave my mind. Even now, if I'm driving around, I'm trying to place where I am in case something happens and I can ring the ambulance.
Dr. Bradley Willsmore only learnt about patients like Tom after detailing Lynn's case at a medical conference. Other cardiologists told him they'd also noticed safety issues with the lead.
We suspect, though, that the failure rate of this particular lead is higher than average.
By this stage, Australia had established a national registry of cardiac devices, created in 2014 after a number of serious safety issues.
You can see all the leads are in place and the device looks good.
A registry is a database that records patients, their surgeons and the devices used in operations, and tracks side effects over time. But the registry failed to pick up the Linux lead issue, and now 5 years later, it's clear why. Documents obtained by the ABC show the registry is being used by just 43 doctors and only in 4 states. In 2017, an independent review of the $5 million publicly funded and underused registry showed it didn't meet requirements and the information it produced wasn't relevant. Australia is known for its world-class registers for breast implants and joint replacements. Both were created after patient safety scandals and have been embraced by doctors. But that hasn't happened for cardiac devices, potentially putting patients' lives at risk.
It would prevent patients going through unnecessary shocks, unnecessary trauma, and potentially death.
In Canada, its national registry has since found Linux leads are 5 to 6 times worse than others. In a statement, Biotronic told 730 there's no evidence of systematic problems with its Linux leads and that all medical devices come with some risk.
Doc's going to check your pacemaker today. So how have you been feeling? You good?
Great. Yeah, no problem.
Professor David Playford says having one simple national cardiac registry has been difficult. He says many doctors fear death rates and side effects being made public and that any registry must be compulsory.
The trouble with voluntary involvement is that particular hospitals or groups may say, look, we don't really want to share this.
I'll just get you to take a little breath in for me.
The Cardiac Society of Australia and New Zealand says it's now developing a new registry, but it will just track heart stents. Pacemakers are not yet included, and it will still only be voluntary.
Now I'm just going to run a few numbers on the device programming.
The Linux lead has now been superseded by another version. Bradley Willsmore says there are an unknown number of patients still walking around with the lead, and delays by the company in withdrawing the product has left him sceptical. How certain can consumers be that that was done in a timely way?
Not at all. And that's part of the problem, is that we don't have a registry to know.
Patients like Tom Scutts and Lynn Farley won't be forgetting their experience with a faulty device anytime soon.
It's changed everyone's life, not just mine, my husband and son. You can't explain it until you experience it.
You've got to leave it up and trust the people and trust what happens. You just trust, you have to.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.